Welcome to Life on the Rocks, your innovative, entrepreneurship, and motivational-based show where we ask the real questions by tapping into the minds of successful, high-performing individuals. I'm going to predicate to you that luck is an illusion, disproving the myth that there's a such thing as an overnight success. Get ready and strap in 3, 2, 1. We are coming at you live from Sudbury's new hit motivational TV show, Life on the Rocks, with your host, Connor Larocque. I'm the author of Life is Motivation and Mindset is Everything. Today's featured guest on the show is my main man, Ryan Benoit. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing very good today.
Good.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Ryan is the owner of the brand, The Positive Inception. It's completely blown up over the landscape of Sudbury, Ontario. This is a brand that's going to be going global within the next few years. Ryan, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself. So for anyone who doesn't know, just go into a little bit about your life, what got you started, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I'm 23 years old, and I started The Positive Inception about 3 years ago. And I started it after my second year of university at Laurentian. I took sports administration, and it just kind of went through there. I just wanted to kind of create something to allow people to be more positive and try to make the world a better place, essentially. And it's all about kind of helping people realize their full potential and go for what you want in life and dream big and work hard and follow your dreams and never give up no matter what people say, and do what you want to do, essentially.
Absolutely. It's funny because I remember it was in, I think, one of my second year classes. I think we took a world politics class together. You were in the front, and I think right around then is when you started your company. And next thing you know, you think a lot of students, millennials primarily, are sitting back thinking, well, you know what, I have enough, I got to do school. But you started a company while in university.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny to see where you've ended up? Like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, 3 years ago today, then all of a sudden you had one of the hit spots at the new Sudbury Shopping Center.
Yeah.
You know, how do you feel about that?
It's crazy because when I started the company, like 3 years ago now, I just wanted to kind of start something to kind of keep my mind off school, because school was really busy for me and I was kind of having a hard time with school. And it was just kind of a way to escape kind of thing. And it was a pastime for me. And when I started, there was a lot of work to be done. But it helped me in regards to school. And like I said, it got my mind off things. And essentially, once the brand kind of took off, then my grades in school got a lot better because I wasn't always concentrating on school. And it's something that I really like to do. But the funny thing is, and people, I tell this sometimes to people, but I wanted to start the brand to kind of help people, but I essentially wanted to kind of create something to put something on my resume so I can get a real job.
That's funny.
And this became my full-time job. So it's been pretty cool how it worked out, but.
The idea, I like the mentality where it's like, where people are like, I can't find a job, so create a job. You basically live that mentality.
It's true.
Exactly, yeah. So for people that don't know, so The Positive Inception, it sounds like a pretty creative name. So I want you to explain that to people. So what does The Positive Inception mean? I know it's motivational, but go unpack that a little bit for me.
Yeah, I guess the inception means like to start at the beginning of something. So whenever you want to start something or do something new, you always got to be positive and have positive thoughts and positive intentions. And that's kind of how I thought about it. And whenever you want to start something or help someone, you always got to be positive and have their best intentions in mind. And I just wanted to kind of create something to allow people to feel good about themselves. So when you wear something, you see the word positive, for instance, and right away it's kind of like that mindset. I wanted to kind of create something to. It's not just a clothing line. It's a kind of a way to think. It's a way to live, and it's a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how I want to promote it.
No, 100%. And from a branding perspective, Ryan, I mean, you go everywhere in the city every year, in the gym, whether it be at the university or at Cambridge College. You have people going all over the world taking photos on Instagram and hashtagging The Positive Inception, tag you in it, right?
Yeah,
and you're posting.
Exactly.
So, for instance, like, we're going to back it up. Like, from a business standpoint, what do you think the hardest aspect is of managing a business or starting a business in general?
Yeah, I think I read somewhere and people kept telling me that people who are in business, I think business is simple. It's all about kind of trying to be honest and be truthful to people and kind of treat people the way you want to be treated, right? And treat people the way they would like to be treated. I think it's all about building relationships, and if you build a solid relationships, people are going to come back. Your returning customers are going to come back. But To return to your question, I think the biggest aspect of things is just to try to juggle everything all at once kind of thing, and dealing with for instance, for me, dealing with screen printers, it doesn't always go as planned, and you're depending on product a certain day and it doesn't come, and stuff like that. So you got to kind of roll with the punches and think on the fly and come up with compromises and make sure you got the best product available that you want.
That's exactly it. I mean, you come with reasonable prices too and everything else, and it's that branding aspect, right? You know, you take companies like Coke and Pepsi, it's like what separates them from other things, and you in the city alone have been able to create something substantial, and it's pretty wild. So, like I said, like the whole aspect of it, you're 23 years old, Ryan. You've been in business for 3 years now. You know, you graduated university, never thought this was going to happen, and you're the type of guy, I've never seen someone so positive in my life. I say every time we used to come by in the mall, we'd always be having a laugh. I'm that, you know, high energy guy, and you're always there. I'm like, Ryan's always going. Honestly, I think I work hard, but I've never met anyone in my entire life that works as hard as you. Honest to God.
And I think, for me, I was never like the smartest person in school, and my grades would tell you that.
Yeah.
My midterms would tell you that for sure. But I was the one who worked the hardest, and I'm not trying to be cocky or anything.
Not at all.
I think you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the work ethic, it's useless, right? And but if you have the work ethic to kind of persevere and do what you want, I think you can do anything you put your mind to. And for me, having a disability, I'm always kind of behind the 8 ball because it takes me a little longer to do things than most people. But I don't let that stop me, you know, and I try to do the best I can every single day. And everyone has a body to do great things, and my mind and my heart's not disabled, and I know that. So anything I can do to kind of to do the best I can to kind of follow my dreams and to kind of be a role model, and that's what I want to do.
That feels good at the end of the day, right? When you know people are watching you and saying, hey, that this is going to go something, and you're giving back to the community so much, right? And it's kind of like, I find it interesting, you know what I mean? That obviously, you know, you say you have a disability, but you don't even let it go. Like, you know, you're working so hard that you wouldn't even be able to tell. You're putting in 80 hours a week, you know, or even more, I would think, when you were at the mall, right?
Yeah, like I was at the mall until like August, until the end of December.
Yeah.
I worked every day. I would work probably 16, 17 hours a day. And
what was your favorite part? Or go ahead.
And all my friends and family, they were always telling me like, oh, hire people, this and that, but I never wanted to. I wanted to be there, be in the action, and kind of meet the people that I've met, and it was a good experience. And I think you have to put in the work if you want to have a successful business, and if you believe in the product and you believe in yourself, you can pretty much do anything.
So true. Yeah. Take that vision, create it, and bring it into the physical world. That's what I like to say. And you know what? You are a true entrepreneur in the sense that you think you can do it all, right? You want to take it all. It's like, I could do the accounting, I could do the managing, I could do this, right? And it's funny, I'm the same way in business, right? I'm in a number of different ventures, and I'm thinking I could do it all. And then at the end of the day, you're burnt out, you're laying there. But it's that motivation, that passion. And that's something that I want to talk about here for a minute, that most people, millennials, being that, you know, we're going to have a millennial audience, we'll have a lot of people, but I find our generation, what do you think is the biggest problem with millennials right now? One of my beliefs, it's the mindset behind it, that, you know, going off of you saying that we can do anything, right? If you have a vision for it, you have that passionate desire, we can go forward. I find, for instance, that most millennials don't know what they want, and then they're believing the metaphors that people tell them, like, well, there's no jobs. And then, like we said, you know, we're entrepreneurs, create the job, right? Or you have to be dynamic, adaptive, be elusive kind of thing, right?
Maybe I don't notice it so much, but a lot of people, like my parents' age and stuff like that, they always say, like, people our age, they expect things without the work, right? And like I don't see that because I'm busy with all like the stuff that I want to do, and I kind of focus on myself and the people I care about. But I think it can't be like that. You know, you gotta get the proper steps to do what you want to do, and if you wanna whatever you want to do, and if you want to be a businessman or anything like that, for example, you gotta maybe go to school. And I know a lot of like successful business people, they never went to school, but you gotta get the knowledge or the experience somehow. And I think you gotta put in the work ethic, the time and effort, and build those healthy relationships with people, and try to succeed in
Absolutely.
the best way possible, and use those resources to the best of your abilities.
So I want to ask you, so we're talking a lot about business, passion, the whole dynamics behind this. Ryan, what ignited your passion? Like whether it comes to the motivational side of it, the positive inception, what ignited that passion in you?
I think passion is key, right? You gotta, with everything you do, you have to be passionate about everything. And if you're not passionate about your line of work or your job or anything, it's pretty much useless, and you'll be miserable, right? And I think passion is if you have the passion, the work ethic, the drive to kind of succeed, you gotta have all the tools to do the best you can. And for me, the passion, I just like meeting people and hearing their story and seeing how the brand affects them. And I get messages sometimes saying like, oh, I suffer from depression, and when I wear your clothes, it makes me feel so much better. Or I was having a bad day, and I put your sweater on, and it made the day that much better. And different things like that. So the little things, it's pretty cool. And I like being a role model for people, and also with people with disabilities too. Like I have cerebral palsy, and a lot of people think that because I have a disability, I can't do much, right?
Oh, for sure.
And then the stereotype of people, of other people with disabilities, they think they can't really amount to anything, but that's not the case, right? Like I said, if you really want to do something, and just use all the resources available. to kind of reach your goals and reach your dreams. And as I previously mentioned, like it takes me a little longer to do things, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I kind of like, it's kind of an honor for me to be disabled, if that makes any sense.
It's interesting, yeah, interesting thought.
Due to the fact that it takes a special person to kind of have to go through what I go through on a daily basis, right? And I go through their struggles, but those struggles kind of made me who I am, and I wouldn't be able to do anything that I'm doing without my family and friends, and my family and friends are huge supporters of me, and I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
It wasn't for them. Well, you're going off of that thought too, and like I had always seen your stuff. Like so, when I would go around Laurentian campus and I was there as well, and I'd always see the positive inception. I said to myself, I was like, I like being positive, motivated kind of guy, but I was like, I have to meet this guy. I know, I was like, I gotta meet Ryan because I had heard the story, and then I'd seen you on social media all over the place, and I said, for someone to come out and like you said, it's one of those blessings where you have it harder than most people, but you're going out there. You still carry that same swagger, I guess we could say, right? You're still going out with the brand, and like I said, I've never seen anyone work. Like we had a good laugh together, me and Ryan. Just so everyone on the camera, the one quote I like is that people say they're up like they're rich, and I mean they're going to bed. They sleep in like they're rich, but we're up like we're broke, right? Because we're working, and that's the mentality we live in. I love that. That's not one of those things. Okay, I want to back this up for a second. I want to pull it back. So, Ryan, you have an incredible story, right? And this is one of the, me, I'm one of those guys. I'm always trying to not push people, but I always like to ask certain questions. I remember in the summertime we were talking about Ryan writing a book eventually. That was one of those type of things where you would have a story. Is that ever on your radar maybe? Possibly? That'd be something interesting, being that you're inspiring, you're helping. It's always another tool.
Yeah. I've always thought about it, but right now I've been pretty busy. But yeah, for sure. It's always kind of fun to kind of have your thoughts kind of written down, and sometimes I kind of think about it, and other things get caught in the way, so it kind of goes in the back burner, but maybe in the future for sure.
No, 100%. And the reason I asked for the audience, just to understand, so we were talking about it, and I'm one of those guys, like I always like to see, like Ryan's, hitting all these targets and other things, and I just thought, the positive inception right there, that kind of title in a book and such. But changing gears again, so being that, we're trying to get motivational, we have the business aspect here. Ryan, there's one subject that, for me, I'm passionate about, but I find a lot of people have the wrong connotation towards it. Selling. The idea of selling. So, in business you have to sell, right? And it's the thing that you have these guys, they come across as greasy salesmen, which, we make the joke they're amateurs, right? But a lot of people are out for their own personal gain, whereas that's obviously not evident in your life, that you're always out there trying to give. That's your formula. How do you feel about the idea of selling? I mean, not trying to, whatever, just the idea of selling your product, getting out there because you're so passionate about it. What do you think about the idea, the dynamics of selling?
I think it's a you have to build relationships, and I had a talk with one of the owners, one of the stores I'm in Skater's Edge, and
Nice.
his name's Matt, and we were talking yesterday, and we had a pretty awesome conversation in regards to it's all about kind of building relationships, and it's simple, right? If you treat people right, they're gonna come back, and without people's business, you wouldn't have a business, right?
That's
And
exactly it.
if you're kind of cocky or you think you're bigger than what you actually are, and then people won't like that, obviously, and they won't come back, and they won't support you, and I think you just I always try to stay humble and grateful, because I know for a fact without people's business, I would, if people never didn't like the idea, I wouldn't have the business, right? And it's all about
Absolutely.
people, and I'm so grateful, and I never really thought that the brand would get this big. I started with four types of shirts. I think I printed 50 of each, and then they sold, and then I used that money to kind of reinvested in the business, and
True businessman right there. I like it. Yeah.
and then I got one hoodie afterwards, and then that all those items kind of turned into over 100 items now, and
crazy.
it wouldn't happen without the support of people, and the Sudbury community, especially the Laurentian University community as well, and everyone kind of bought into it, and it's been pretty cool. And I think the reason why people kind of bought into it is because it's so relatable to people, and I think everyone can use a little more positivity, even me, sometimes, and it's just kind of a simple reminder to kind of be the best you possible every single day.
What do you think? So Ryan, when you're down, when you're in a rut, most people. So I like to tell people when they can't get motivated, I say, how do I get motivated, Connor? And I use 5 words from Gary Vaynerchuk: you're gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, it's like one of those extreme things to crack that state. So when you're let's say in a down spot, you're really tired, you've been working 80 hours, whatever it is. How do you overcome that? When you're feeling down, you don't really feel motivated or inspired. Like, what is it? What are some techniques that you use maybe to get motivated, or just to get the fire burning? We could use that, I guess we could say, right?
Yeah, like sometimes it's frustrating, and sometimes you're tired and you don't want to do work, or sometimes you're I don't know, like sometimes things doesn't go your way. Life is not perfect, right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes you're kind of down, and you're not, like, sometimes things happen that you're not expecting. Like for me, sometimes I got a problem with screen printers, and I really need that product.
That screen printer, yeah.
And it just doesn't happen, and sometimes you get down and discouraged and stuff. But for me, what keeps me going is the returning customers and the people who actually wear the brand, and all the messages I get. And I just remember that, and how much of a positive impact the brand is actually having, and people get tattoos of the brand and stuff
wild.
like that.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be on their bodies
Exactly, yeah.
forever, and I just want to keep going,
That's you.
because sometimes people probably ask them, "Oh, what is that?" But one day I just want them to, like, people see the tattoo, they're gonna know what it is, right?
Absolutely.
They're gonna know it's the positive Inception.
The positive Inception.
But I try to just keep going, and it's something that I like to do. I think I wouldn't be able to put in the time and effort if I wasn't passionate about it, if I didn't like it, right? And
Absolutely.
you kind of, in life, you gotta have to do things that you're passionate about, and if you're passionate, it doesn't really seem like work.
Exactly. That's like they say. So Tony Robbins would say passion equals energy. We're both 2 high energy guys. We have the passion. And in this closing remarks, I want to ask you one thing. So just for everybody in the audience watching, so you can see Ryan, he talks with passion. He's a courageous young man who's going out there as an entrepreneur, right? Trying to make change. In my eyes, and I tell Ryan all the time, and we're both, he wants to be humble and all this, and that's great. But I see your brand going on a global scale. In my opinion, we're not going to talk on that, but I see this brand going on a global scale in the sense that, Ryan's rated in sports. We can see eventually what's going to happen. So where do you see your brand in the next few years? It's only been 3 years. Ryan started off with 4 shirts. He's got over 100 different products. Where do you see this brand going? As you keep plugging away, you were in there, you did a substantial job at the new Sudbury Shopping Center. Sudbury alone, you blew up Sudbury, in a good way. Everyone sees the brand, they see positive Inception, they associate right away Ryan Benoit, and they get that motivation. Where do you see your brand going?
You know what? Like, people ask me that all the time, and it's a hard question to ask. I just try to take it day by day, and
there it is.
see work hard every day, and kind of put in the effort. But I like you said, I'm a huge sports fan, so I like kind of teaming up with teams, or dealing with maybe different different companies or different global companies, and maybe making partnerships and stores within different cities and stuff like that. I think the opportunities are endless. Right now, I'm concentrating a lot more on the retail side sort of things, and I'm partnering up with. I have 3 stores right now, and hopefully more stores are to follow. But for right now, I just want to try to get into as many stores as possible and get people wearing the product.
You know what? It was honestly an absolute pleasure having you on the show, man. This is the pilot episode. And what a great guy to bring on the pilot, right? So for one of those things, if you want to check him out on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere on social media, Ryan Benoit, The Positive Inception. And it was honestly a great pleasure having you, man. You're the man. Seriously, thank you very much. Yeah.